shoulder in the middle of your mat, please. Take slippers off. I think I'm looking tight. It's like okay, isn't it? It's not too cluttered. I always don't like the things in the background, so to speak. All right. So we're launching straight into it today. So you're going to come to the mat and kneel with your knees wide, big toes together. Knees can be as narrow or as wide apart as you like. You can go for a really big stretch of the inner thighs or a very little stretch of the inner thighs. It's up to you. You're folding forwards. You're trying not to let your bottom be higher than your head. So this, we don't want this. We want this. Bottom low, head slightly higher or level. Okay? And then you're just laying forwards. Now, ideally, there's no weight in your arms here. You can rest your arms on the floor. But Joe, if you feel that this is not comfortable for you to be in, then the alternative is to lay on your back and to put the bolster onto your tummy, to wrap your legs and cross your ankles over the bolster. And you can either then let your arms rest down by your sides, or you can hug the bolster if you want to. Okay, so this is the alternative, but child's pose or supported child's pose is your starting position if you can manage it. So, and that goes for all of you if you want to do either or. Just make sure that there is not too much weight going towards your shoulders. You want the weight of your body to be falling towards your hips. Yeah. So, if you feel that that's difficult to find or to achieve, then what you need to do is you need to put something under the bolster like this. So if you want to get more weight to your hips, then prop the bolster up, put things that are higher, like my blanket is, underneath it, and that will just give you that little bit of lift that helps to keep the bottom a bit lower. All right. Joe, don't do this. If you feel more comfortable laying on your back, stay in that position. Are you all right? I think she is. Good. Okay, so I would like you to start with your breath, and I'm sorry, I haven't said hi to everybody directly, but know that I've seen you all. Thank you so much for coming to practice this evening. It's wonderful to have you here with us all tonight. So, those of you that come to the morning class will recognise this breath pattern. But what I want you to do is to breathe into the back of your body, whether you're lying on your back or whether your back is exposed. You are breathing in, first of all, to your shoulder blades. So think of these as your wings that are inflating, they're filling like the sails of a yacht. So the inhalation inflates your shoulder blade sails, and the exhalation allows them to float back onto the rib cage. And for your next 4 or 5 breaths, that's where your attention will remain, on your shoulder blades as they lighten and lift, and as they settle back down. Now, if you happen to be lying on your back, you can still direct your attention into your shoulder blades. You'll just have that less of that light feeling going on. And after this breath, you are then going to breathe into your lower ribs. So for the next few breaths, until I tell you to move to the next place, just breathe in to what I would say is the middle of your back. It's not quite, it's not anatomically the middle of your back at all, but if you think about your low ribs, so including the floating ribs at the bottom of your rib basket, and just breathe in and out here. And then the final location is towards the lower back. Now the kidneys are sort of fairly high in the lower back region. However, if you think about where your navel is, and if you breathe into the space behind your navel, that's the kind of region I want you to be breathing into now. And then for these final few breaths here, I'd like you to breathe into the entire back body. Now along the back of your body runs the bladder channel. It is the longest channel of the acupuncture system with 67 points. It starts in the region of the eyes, in the inner corner of the eye, and then it goes up across the top of your head, down the back of the neck, where it splits into parallel branches that run either side of the spine. And then those parallel branches also run down the back of the leg, where they meet just about towards where the knee kind of region is. And then they finish, the channel finishes at your little toe. It's one of the most important channels of the body, because if you think about it, it's the channel that is most exposed when you lie in the fetal position, which is similar to the position you're in now. And the fetal position is one that we often come to when we want to protect ourselves, when we want to heal, when we want to maybe just hide away from the world for a little bit. And so the bladder channel is there to protect us, to protect our very important organs that are buried on the other side of the body, and to protect from invasion of pathogens. So it's a very, very important channel. You're going to take 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then whenever you are ready, you can come either to lay on your front or to lay on your back, whatever feels right for you. Please gently peel yourself away. And just settle now the back of the body. Think about the pathway of the channel. Good. Now what I'd like you to do is to gently come up into a seated position, please. One of the functions of the bladder channel is the structural support that it gives for the spine. So when the bladder channel is weak, it's not in isolation, it's not the bladder channel on its own that's weak, but there are other factors involved. But when you look at somebody's posture and they're all sort of scrunched up and slumped over, then there's no vitality to them. There's no lift through their spine. And this is what we want to avoid, don't we? Because when we have got no kind of structural support, we collapse, don't we? We collapse and compress. And compression is fine. We know that a little bit of it, as we know, is very good for the health of our bones. But ultimately, we want to decompress the body. So we want to feel and find spaces to separate the bones, and that's what we do in our yin practice a lot as well. So you are going to come into a seated position with one knee bent and rolling it out to the side. Therefore, if you want to, you can put a blanket or a block underneath this leg just to give it a little bit of support. But your primary focus is your spine and this ability to sit up. Okay, so if you need to, you can do this in a chair. This is quite a nice one to do seated in a chair. The fingertips maybe come to the floor behind you, but they're very, very light. The other hand maybe comes towards the opposite knee. And can you see how I'm just spinning? So you could sit here, Joe, and just cradle your arm, basically. Or you could, I did think about this beforehand, you could put your bolster here and just rest your arm onto your bolster so that you've got some support there. And if this hand happens to be your good one and it's free and you want to turn, you can put your fingers on the floor or even onto a brick. And these go for anybody. Do you remember last week how I showed you or talked to you about the sandbags? They're still out there over there. This is kind of like your sandbag now. So it can rest onto your knee. It can be quite nice sensation into the hip. But I want you to maintain a sense of you sitting upright throughout these moments here. And just taking a soft rotation for the spine. So we're supporting the bladder channel And you've also got a little stretch going along the straight leg as well, which is also in the region of the bladder. Now, I'll probably talked at you enough, so I'll be quiet for a little bit actually, and I'll save what I was going to say for the other side. So we'll just stay here for 2 more minutes. Let me put my timer on so we don't go over. Okay, so when you notice that your energy starts to drop and you start to almost collapse to the floor, remember this is very yin-like qualities, but when we're in a seated position, we're resisting that. We're trying to stay a little bit more upright so that we can keep the focus on the posture and the structural support that our spine gives us. In a moment we'll loosen that all off again. You got 1 more minute. Two more breaths, please. And then softly and slowly return yourself back towards the centre. And you can gently ease out the bent knee and swap it over so that you are turning the other way. Still use your bolster if you want to rest your arms on. It's quite nice to sort of move in this way without using your arms as support, because it reminds you of just how hard your spine has to work to hold you upright. So my timer is on. You've spun around to the opposite direction, the opposite side. You might now use your breath as a focus for keeping you upright. On the inhalation, the attention might rise up your spine. And on the exhalation, the attention falls back down the spine towards your sit bones. This is not so that you collapse, but it's to remind you to keep your bodies upward and sort of structural alignment. This is one of this channel's biggest responsibilities. Another of this channel's responsibilities on an emotional level is to support your own sense of self-esteem. To have a healthy self-esteem, it is absolutely 100% linked to your posture. And you can just see it in people, can't you? You can see how people feel about themselves by the way they carry themselves around. Maybe notice this when you're out and about tomorrow, or notice it in your family members. when we're having a difficult time, we tend to lose our posture and we don't feel good about ourselves. On the other hand, when we feel great about ourselves, when life feels good, then the shoulders are back, the chest is open, the spine is strong. There's so much vitality and positive energy. Now, there's not to say that doesn't have to be there all of the time, because life isn't like that. There has to be balance, and it would be an imbalance if we were like that all of the time. So cut yourself some slack if you don't quite feel like, oh, I just want to lie down, my back is tired, I'm fed up with holding myself up, etc., etc. So your time here is done. Gently spin your way back round to the centre, and you can lay yourself down and give your back body a complete rest for a moment as you take a break from my prattlings on. Okay, so last couple of breaths here. And then softly, slowly returning to your final upright seated position of the practice for tonight. So as I slide back over to my mat, I'd like you now to come into the butterfly position. Do you remember we did this on Tuesday? We did a lot of this on Tuesday, didn't we, in the class? You can have the feet far away, you can have the feet closer in. So where the feet are is entirely your choice. But you are rounding forwards, so you're stretching the back of your body. So remember all the options that the bolster can give you. The bolster can go in the centre and you can use it to fold forwards. It could go underneath the knees and you could use it to fold forwards. You could therefore have your legs more straight. So if you don't enjoy having the knees rolled out to the side, then please don't do it. Please have your legs more straight. Another option, which I quite enjoy, is to have the bolster behind. So if you can sort of wiggle it behind you, and then it's just a little bit of weight that's there towards the back of your body. Obviously, the more you fold forwards, the less heavy that's going to be on your back. So you can try lifting it a little bit higher. It's a bit precarious, but it does stay if you find like a sweet spot for it. And sometimes that's quite a nice variation in this pose, if you feel that way inclined. However, if you do have the bolster on your back and it does get too heavy, please take it off at any time you feel that you need to. So, according to Chinese medicine, a lot of the functioning of the digestive system and the urinary system is what we call the sorting of the pure, sorting of the impure from the pure, or the turbid from the pure. There's a lot of sorting that goes out with these organs of the body. And so the bladder is affectionately referred to as the minister of the reservoir, because this is the last kind of gathering place of the impure fluids that have been filtered through your body. It kind of starts from the moment you consume any kind of fluid into your stomach. The body begins that sorting process. It keeps the good stuff and it sends downwards the not so good stuff, the impure stuff. And then it gets sorted again in the small intestine, and then it gets sorted again in the large intestine, etc., etc. So the bladder is responsible for storing and then for the excretion of stuff. So it's very important and is linked to our body's ability to let go of things, in much the same way that the large intestine is very much linked to that too. That's its main responsibility on an energetic level. But because the bladder channel runs down the length of the back of the body, it influences and has a regulating effect on the nervous system and your fight or flight responses. So when we work with releasing and calming the energy in the back of the body, it's said to help release stored tension, both physically and psychologically. Things that affect the bladder channel are stress, fear, and overwork. Okay, so let's take one more breath here. Well done, everyone. And then again, softly you can emerge from your shape and come take a lie down on your back if that feels comfortable. What's really lovely after you've stretched the back of the body somewhat is this kind of settling down feel that you are hopefully experiencing right now as you come back into neutral. You feel the channel softening. Okay, so 1 or 2 more breaths. Now, as promised, I said we would spend a lot of time lying down. For this next one, you can lie with something underneath the back of your body. It doesn't have to be your bolster. It could be a folded up blanket. It could be a softer, thinner cushion. It could be a yoga block. But essentially, if you take the bolster towards the back of the knees, and then as you bend the knees, lift the hips and just roll your support underneath you. A bit like this. And then you can decide what you want to do with your arms and your legs. So the legs and the arms can stay as mine are now in sort of this supported bridge position. Or you could stretch out the legs and you could add the arms above the head if you want to as well. So there's a couple of options there for you to take. Okay. Take your time to ease yourself into this shape. Allow your lower back to soften and relax. And if you want to, you can take the knees out wide to the sides like a butterfly again, similar to what we've been doing a lot of, because this stimulates the kidney meridian, the kidney channel, which runs along the inner leg and is the partner to the bladder. So the kidney is the yin organ of the two, and the bladder is the yang organ. And the yang organs are generally hollow. So that's how we know the difference between the two. Okay, so take one more breath here, please. And in your own time, slowly bending the knees and bringing the arms down by your sides, lifting the hips and pushing the bolster back to the back of the knees, please. And just rest here if you like. Okay, so we come towards our almost final pose of the practice, and this one will be a twist. You can use the bolster to support the knees if you want to, but my suggestion is this. So it's a 2-knee twist tonight, and let's say I'm going to roll my knees. I'm going to come over to this side of the mat. If I roll my knees over towards the left, then I'm going to take my right arm maybe over the top of the head, if that feels comfortable. It's very useful to do this because it helps to stop the energy stagnation in the shoulder if we kind of open the arm up a little bit. Now, the option with the knees is that if you want to bring more energy to your lower back, keep your knees as high as your hips or even higher or closer towards your chest. So you've got a tighter kind of roll out to the side, and then your opposite arm goes over the head. Or if you want to direct more energy into the sacrum and the hips, then you have your knees further away. So your feet, the way you put the knees is really important. So closer up or higher up, it goes more into your lower back, and further down or further away, it goes right down into the sacrum, the very kind of lowest part of the spine, and more into the hips. Okay, so have a play with that, because one or the other will feel better for you. And you can always put something in between the knees or something underneath the knees. But whatever way, whatever side your knees have fallen out to, then it is the opposite arm which you're gently elevating, you're gently sort of resting it on the floor slightly above your head. Of course, if this gives you pins and needles in your arm or your hand, then please bring your arm to any position that feels right for resting in. Okay? And this is a lovely pose because it works the kidney meridian and the bladder meridian at the same time. So it's gently stretching and lengthening the back line of your body. But you've also got a little bit of something going on in the front of your body too, which is where the kidney channel travels. So one is on the front and the other is on the back. And just to kind of give you an idea, so we talked about the bladder channel as being very responsible for your posture and your sense of self-esteem, how you feel. The kidney channel is very responsible for that too, because it runs up the front of the body. So it's the bladder channel starts at the eye and goes down. The kidney channel starts at the foot and goes up, and the final point of the kidney channel is this point just under the collarbones, and it's called Bright Mansion, or one translation of it is Bright Mansion. But it's your home basically. It's supposed to represent your home, your representation of yourself again to the world. So how you carry yourself, and it's all done from this gentle lifted feel on the front of the chest. Anyway, you have 1 more minute to rest here. Please allow yourself to breathe softly. Take 1 more breath here. And slowly return to the center and let yourself drop the knees to the other side. And find your shape. It might not be exactly the same, but find what works for you, with the knees falling out to the other side and the opposite arm maybe over the top of the head. Now if it gets tired, please put something underneath your arm, a blanket, a cushion, a yoga block. One more minute. Take another breath in, a breath out, and then gently release this shape. And you can come to lie on your back where we'll finish our practice this evening. Please feel free to put the bolster back underneath the knees, or indeed use any support that enables you to relax. Let yourself settle. Take a long breath in and an easy breath out. Gently move your head from side to side to find a balance where the weight of your head feels as though it can rest with ease. Encourage your feet to be wider apart than your hips, and allow the backs of the legs, the buttocks, and the hips to completely relax. Feel as if you have been carrying around a heavy load that you've just let drop to the floor. Don't move your body. Keep your mind still now. I'll leave you with these final words to finish the practice. Release tension to invite in relaxation. Release fear to yield courage. Release resistance so you can flow around the mountains in your way. Release indecision so you can cultivate more certainty. Release busyness to encourage healing. So I'd like you to bring your awareness back into the space. Gently have a wiggle of your fingers and your toes. Turn your head from side to side softly. And take a stretch out any way that feels good. When you are ready, slowly gather your knees in and gently take a little rock from side to side until you can come round and up to sit. Take your time. Find an easy seat. And we'll finish practice together. Fingertips out wide, and if you can, raise your arms up high and bring your palms together before gently bringing the hands down to heart center. Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming to practice, for your attention and your intention tonight. Namaste to you all.